This month, ChatGPT said advertising is inevitable and started showing brands the insides of your AI conversations. LinkedIn decided to flood your feed with AI slop nobody asked for. And somehow the Super Bowl managed to be both the most watched event and the most boring ad lineup in modern history. I'm Jada, and we'll discuss all that and more on W4. So,
let us begin. What, where, why, or when.
That's right. Welcome to What, Where, Why, and When, where all things marketing will be explained like instructions to a game. And like we always do at this time, let's get into this month in marketing. So I recently came across the Adweek article about OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT that just spent $200,000 running ads inside ChatGPT, promoting ChatGPT to people already using ChatGPT.
Dining hall was serving chicken for dinner, I had to feed my chicken. I took little pieces of chicken and I gave it to the chicken. Someone must have seen me because the next thing I knew I was being accused of forced cannibalism.
Yep. This month, OpenAI launched the first ever advertising platform called Sponsored Results. Brands can now pay to appear in ChatGPT search results when you ask it questions. And to prove it works, OpenAI bought their own ads to promote ChatGPT Pro subscriptions. They spent $200,000 advertising to themselves. Inside the ChatGPT interface, you ask a question, and now before you get the answer, you get a little sponsored message. It's like Google search results, but somehow much more dystopian. The AI is the one serving you the ad. The reason is, they needed to prove the brands that the platform works. Nothing says trust us. Ads work here, like buying your own ads. The goal is to diversify revenue. ChatGPT has 300 million weekly active users, but loses money on every free user. Ads equal new revenue streams that doesn't require subscriptions. And like all things right now, if you add letters AI to the end, companies literally spend their entire budgets to get in on the mix. And speaking of platforms where everyone's a thought leader but no one has an actual thought, LinkedIn rolled out AI content features that let users generate posts, comments, and even profile summaries in just one click.
But Jada, people already copy and paste their ChatGPT think pieces.
The problem is, now everyone's doing it. And I mean everyone. Your feed is now 80% AI slop. The thrill to announce I've been promoted to Senior Vice President of Synergy, and this journey has taught me these three key things. Post motivational quotes, fake lessons learned posts, engagement bait that reads like it was written by someone who just learned what an EM dash is. Speaking of which, I don't ever remember seeing one before ChatGPT. But here's the worst part. It works. These AI posts are getting more engagement than real ones because LinkedIn's algorithm can't tell the difference between authentic career updates and ChatGPT fan fiction. So now we're in this nightmare scenario where real professionals post thoughtful insights and get crickets, and an AI bot motivational post generates over 10,000 likes. LinkedIn basically said, engagement is engagement.
And let the robots take over.
The platform that was supposed to be for professional networking is now a creative writing exercise between competing AIs. And before anyone says just ignore it, you can't, because your boss, your recruiter, your entire industry is on there pretending that AI posts are real human thoughts. We're all living in the same lie now. So congrats, LinkedIn. You've turned professional networking into a Turing test nobody asked for. What was that? Oh gosh, it's nothing. It's just old Drake May getting knocked around again.
Drake?
And speaking of lackluster performances, did the Super Bowl ads this year feel safe? Like, nobody took any risks? Well, unlike Drake May's disastrous throwing performance, multiple trade publications called Super Bowl 60 one of the safest ad lineups in recent memory. Marketing Dive literally titled their piece, Don Draper's Rolling Over in His Grave. And they're not wrong. Adweek reported that numbers ranked this year's Super Bowl ads as the least popular in recent history. The article literally said viewers were amused. So what happened? Brands spent millions per spot, played it so safe they became forgettable. No controversies or bold creative swings. Literally nothing to argue about with your uncle other than trying to get him to admit when he said Drake May and Mike Vrabel were better than Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. It was just celebrities standing next to products saying,
Nah, this is good.
Adweek even published a celebrity payment breakdown. We're talking millions to A-listers for 30-second spots that felt like stock footage. And the worst part, some brands didn't even need the celebrities. I mean, you paid that much money for that. But Doritos and Ulta used TikTok Clubhouse as a second screen power play during the game. Now that was smart. While everyone else was dumping budgets in traditional TV spots, these brands activated real-time social engagement. TikTok Clubhouse let users join live audio rooms during the game to react, discuss, and engage with brands directly. Doritos ran flavor debates, and Ulta did live beauty tips synced to halftime. Outside of Bad Bunny, it was the only genuinely innovative move of the entire event. Everything else, safe, boring, expensive, forgettable. So, I'll say it. Unlike Drake May's fearless attempt at throwing in triple coverage, I think brands are scared. Scared of backlash. Scared of cancel culture. Scared of taking risks that might not land. So they defaulted to celebrities, safe humor, and don't offend anyone creative. Which ironically offends everyone by being boring. Just like Drake. And before we wrap, it's time for the marketing thing of the month. This month's marketing thing of the month is presented to you by the We Tried Everything and We're All Out of Ideas department. Because sometimes bankruptcy auctions reveal more about brand strategy than a case study ever could. On February 5th, Food 52 sold for $10.3 million in bankruptcy auctions. For context, Food 52 was once the lifestyle marketing darling. Recipes, home goods, aspirational kitchen culture. Eat, pray, love. Am I right? They built community, a brand, a whole vibe, and then they collapsed. The bankruptcy auction broke the company into pieces. America's Test Kitchen bought the core Food 52 brand. Schoolhouse went to one buyer, and Dansk went to another. The company that was supposed to be a media empire sold for parts like a Kia in Milwaukee. And here's the thing that kills me. This wasn't a failure of content. Food 52's recipes were good, especially the baked Gruyere with garlic and herbs. Their audience was engaged. The brand had equity, but the business model, wow, chef's kiss of death. They tried to be everything: a media company, an e-commerce platform, a marketplace for other brands, a content studio, and they couldn't monetize any of it sustainably. Because the hard truth about lifestyle media brands in 2026 is traffic doesn't equal revenue. But at the end of the day,
they got in.
Someone looked at the balance sheet and said,
That doesn't work.
so they sold it for $10.3 million, which sounds like a lot until you realize how much venture capital they burned getting there. And that's the marketing lesson. You can build a beloved brand, create amazing content, and have a passionate community, and still go bankrupt if the unit economics don't work. So pour one out for the lifestyle media brands that couldn't figure out how to turn vibes into venture returns. And like Drake May's inability to read a defense, that concludes this month's episode of What, Where, Why, and When. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a story. Also, check out my video on how a 30-minute pizza guarantee led to a hostage crisis that Domino's created through a marketing campaign. Hope you enjoyed your time with us, and see you in a few, where we'll go over the top marketing stories you need to know in the news. Peace.